Let's pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of your trust in this county. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation, in so just and faithful a manner to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county, and of those whose interests you've committed to our charge. Amen. Clerk, kindly take us through the order of the day.
Third Assembly, third session, order paper number 160 of today, Wednesday, 13th March 2024 at 2:30 p.m. Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Nerea Kombo.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to the provisions of orders number 45-1, I wish to give a notice of motion that this House adopts a report of the Liaison Committee on consideration of half-yearly progress reports of committees for the period ended 31st June 2023.
Joachim Okech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the same breath, I will wish to move a notice of motion pursuant to the provisions of Standing Orders number 45, part 1 of the Standing Orders. I wish to give a notice of motion that this House adopts a report of the Budget and Appropriation Committee on the consideration of the Kisumu County Supplementary Estimates 1 for the financial year 2023-2024. Thank you very much.
Honorable Vincent Chagongo. Honorable Emily.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to move a notice of motion on behalf of my chair, Honorable Vincent Jagongo.
Proceed.
Pursuant to the provision of orders number 45-1 of the standing orders, I wish to give a notice of motion that this House adopts a report of Medical Services, Public Health and Sanitation Committee on the knowledge exchange exercise between the committee, Mulago National Referral Hospital, and the Uganda Cancer Institute. Thank you.
Honorable Seto Kumu. What is it, Honorable Ben Adega?
Thank you, Speaker. On behalf of my chair, I would like to move a motion. A notice of motion, sorry.
Proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. That pursuant to the provisions of orders number 45, clause 1 of the standing orders, I wish to give a notice of motion that this House adopts a report of education, technical, training, innovation, and social services on the Kisumu County Vocational Education and Training Policy. Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable Moses Ochele. What is it, Honorable Were?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to move a notice of motion on behalf of Honorable Moses Ochele. To give a notice of motion on behalf of the Chair, JLAC, that pursuant to the provision of orders number 45, section 1 of the standing orders, I wish to give a notice of motion that this House adopts the motion on matter of renewal of contracts for the village administrators. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Order number 7. Order number 7, statements.
Statement time, Honorable Benny Pete Oiko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request for statement on the implementation status of projects approved in the financial year 2022-2023. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 41-2B to seek for a statement from the Chairperson Committee on Implementation. My inquiry concerns the implementation status of all projects and programs approved by this House for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Understanding the progress made, the challenges encountered, and the plans for addressing stalled initiatives will enable this House to hold the executive accountable to ensure the effective utilization of public resources for the benefit of our constituents. Honorable Speaker, for the benefit of this esteemed body, I request the chairperson to provide a comprehensive report encompassing the following details: the total number of projects and programs executed by the executive under the ward-based allocation during the aforementioned fiscal year, the total number of projects and programs carried out by the executive under the county-wide allocation for the same period, a detailed breakdown of all the stalled and ongoing projects within both the ward-based and country-wide categories. Honorable Speaker, for each project or program, the report should include the following information: the implementing department responsible for the project's execution, the specific ward or sub-country where the project is located, the approved budget for the project, the amount of funds spent on the project to date, the percentage of project completion achieved thus far, a clear way forward strategy for any stalled or incomplete projects outlining the steps to be taken for their successful completion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there were two statements. That's the first one. The second one.
Allow us to dispense off with the first statement, Honorable Benny. Members, the statement by Honorable Benny Petoiko on the request for statement on the implementation status of the projects approved in the financial year 2022-2023 is directed to the Committee of Implementation. I saw the Vice Chair. I'm not able to notice the Chair, but I saw the Vice Chair here. Yes, Honorable Were.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are working on that, and I want to request this Honorable House to give us 2 weeks so that we can submit a full report on the same. Thank you.
Honorable members, the statement stands committed to the Committee of Implementation, and please ensure you give the feedback to the House in 2 weeks. I think this is direct, it should not go beyond 2 weeks. Honorable Benny Pete.
Mr. Speaker, request for statement on the Huduma Mashinani report. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 41-2B to seek for a statement from the Chairperson, Committee on Administration of Law and Justice, constitutional affairs, good governance, and security. My inquiry pertains to the Huduma Mashinani report on the exercise titled Promoting Government and Citizens Dialogue on Service Delivery, Participatory Development, and Feedback Management. This initiative, spearheaded by the County Executive Committee member for Public Service, County Administration, and Participatory Development, reportedly took place around June 2023. Honorable Speaker, as per the exercise design, it was intended to be conducted in all Kisumu County sub-counties, and thereafter, a final County Huduma Forum chaired by His Excellency, the Governor of Kisumu County. Honorable Speaker, in light of this, I request the chairperson to provide a comprehensive response on the following. A detailed feedback report for each sub-country involved in the exercise. These reports should be accompanied by attendance registers to verify participation levels. 2. The current implementation status of the feedback collected from the sub-counties. This should detail how various sectors and service delivery departments are acting upon the gathered information. 3. A clear breakdown of the total expenditure incurred during the exercise. This should differentiate between public funds utilized and any potential support received from private organizations. 4. The tangible impact of this exercise on service delivery experienced by our citizens. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I see the chair of JLAC is in the house. Do you have anything to say?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I may just wish to commend Member for Kabonyo Kanyagwal for having raised such pertinent issues, and it requires some information to be received from the executive. Therefore, may I humbly request this House to grant us time, about 2 weeks, to gather the information and compile a report on that. Thank you.
Honorable members, the statement stands committed in the Committee of Administrative Law, Justice, Legal Affairs, Good Governance and Security. And this is just to get information, communication. So 2 weeks, you report back to the House. Statement time. Next order.
Commencement of business. Order number 8, motion on the adoption of the report of Pickback Committee on the examination of the Attorney General's report on the financial statements of Kisumu County Referral Hospital for the financial year 2021-2022 by the Honorable Kennedy Ouko.
Honorable Kennedy Ouko.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to move a motion on the committee report on the consideration of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statement of Kisumu County Referral Hospital for the year ended 30th June 2022. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Public Accounts and Investment Committee, PICPAC, and pursuant to the Kisumu County Assembly Standing Orders 188, I wish to present to the House the report of the Committee on the audited financial statement of Kisumu County Referral Hospital financial year 2021-2022. The County Assembly exercises oversight over county government entities or investment and their expenditure pursuant to Article 185.3 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 through the Public Accounts and Investment Committee, which in turn derives its mandate from the County Assembly Standing Orders. It is instructive that Article 229.8 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 requires the County Assembly within 3 months after receiving an audit report to debate, consider the report, and take appropriate action. The committee held 2 sittings during which it received both written and oral evidence from the accounting officer on audit queries raised by the Auditor General on the financial statement of Kisumu County Referral Hospital financial year 2021-2022. Honorable Speaker, I wish to register my appreciation to the following, to fellow honorable members of the committee, the Office of the Speaker, the Clerk of the Assembly, Committee Secretariat, and the Office of the Auditor General for facilitation and technical support that made the production of this report possible. I also thank the management of County Referral Hospital for honoring committee invitations and timely submission of responses. Special appreciation goes to the Hansard Department for ensuring that all meetings with the accounting officer are broadcasted live. Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Public Accounts and Investment Committee, I now wish to table the report on the consideration of the Auditor General report on the financial statement of Kisumu County Referral Hospital for the year ended 30th June 2022 and urge this Honorable House to adopt it. A legal framework and guiding principles. A legal framework. Honorable Speaker, the committee was guided by the following legal instruments. Constitution of Kenya 2010, Article 229(4) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 requires the Auditor General within a period of 6 months after the end of each financial year to audit and report in respect of that financial year on 1, the account of national and county government, the accounts of all funds and authorities of the national and county governments, accounts of all courts, the accounts of every commission and independent office established by the Constitution, the account of National Assembly, the Senate, the county assemblies, the accounts of political parties funded from the public fund, the public debt, and the accounts of any other entity that legislation requires the Auditor General to audit. Article 229(8) further states that within 3 months after receiving an audit report, Parliament or County Assembly shall debate and consider the report and take appropriate action. 2, the committee also relied on Article 226(5) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, which provides that if the holder of the public office includes a political office, direct or approves the use of public fund contrary to law or instructions, the person is liable for any loss arising from that use and shall make good the loss, whether the person remains the holder of the office or not. 3, Public Audit Act 2015, Section 7 of the Public Audit Act 2015, that mandates that the Auditor General to 1, give assurance on the effectiveness of internal control, risk management, and overall governance of national and county government. 2, undertake audit activities in state organs and public entities to confirm whether or not public money has been applied lawfully and in effective way. 4, Public Finance Management Act 2012, Section 149(1) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which states that an accounting officer is accountable to the County Assembly for ensuring that the resources of the entity for which the officer is designated are used in a way that is 1, A, lawful and authorized, B, effective, efficient, economical, and transparent. Guiding principle. Honorable Speaker, in the execution of its mandate, the committee was guided by core constitutional and statutory principles on public finance management. The principles include the following. Constitutional principle on public finance. Article 201 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides for fundamental principles aimed at guiding all aspects of public finance. It says that the principles are inter alia, 1, openness and accountability, including public participation in financial matters. 2, public money shall be used in prudence and a responsible way. 3, financial management shall be responsible and fiscal reporting shall be clear. Part 2, obligation of the accounting officer. Article 262.2 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, which provides that the accounting officer of the national public entity is accountable to the National Assembly for its financial management. And the accounting officer of the county public entity is accountable to the county assembly for its financial management. 2, Section 149(1) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 provides that an accounting officer is accountable to the county assembly for ensuring that the resources of the entity for which the officer is designated are used in a way that is 1, lawful, authorized, and effective, efficient, and transparent. 3, direct personal liability. Article 226(5) of the Constitution is equivocal that if the holder of the public office or a political office directs or approves the use of public fund contrary to the law or instructions, the person is liable for any loss arising from the use and shall make good the loss, whether the person remains the office holder or not. In the same spirit, Section 203(1) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 enacts that a public officer is personally liable for any loss sustained by the county government and is attributed to 1, the fraudulent or corrupt conduct or negligence of the officer, or the officer is having done any prohibited, act prohibited by the Section 196, 197, 198. The committee considered these legal provisions as the basis for holding accounting and public officers directly and personally liable for any loss of public fund that may occur under their watch. A report of the Auditor General on the financial statement of the Kisumu County Referral Hospital for the year ended 30th June 2022. Honorable Speaker, Dr. Tom Nyangwara, the medical superintendent and accounting officer, appeared before the committee on 31st January 2024 at 10:30 a.m. to adduce evidence on the audited financial statement of Kisumu County Referral Hospital for the year ended 30th June 2022. The following officials accompanied him: 1, Evans Olo, hospital administrator; 2, Barak Odwar, hospital accountant; Levian Akoth, procurement officer; Letitia Awur, accountant; Maurice Ujowi, deputy director nursing; Ezekiel Onunga, accountant. The following officers represented the Office of the Auditor General in the meeting of 31st January 2024. 1, Kennedy Ongoi, Office of the Auditor General; Anthony Maina, Office of the Auditor General. Honorable Speaker, the opinion of the Auditor General on the financial statement of Kisumu County Referral Hospital was qualified, meaning that except for a few issues discussed under the basis for opinion, the financial statement of the hospital represented a true and fair financial position of the hospital. Basis for qualified opinion. The following issues were flagged by the Auditor General on the basis of qualified opinion. 1, unexplained variance in transfer from the county government. The auditor highlighted a variance in what was recorded as transfer from the county government in the book of the hospital and in the book of the county executive. An amount of Kenya shillings 60,500,000 was recorded in the book of the hospital, where nil was reflected in the book of the county executive. 2, unexplained variance in transfer from other government entity. The auditor flagged a variance on the amount transferred from the County Department of Health for universal health care. The book of the hospital reflected an amount of Kenya shillings 22,200,000 286,768, while the book of the executive reflected nil. 3, inaccuracies in property and plant equipment. 4, unsupported balance in the financial statement. Apart from the plant, property and equipment, all opening balances were not supported with appropriate supporting documents. 5, unexplained variance in the statement of the cash flow. 6, material uncertainty related to sustainability of services. The Auditor General flagged the issue of going concern. The hospital current liability totaling to 148,808,525 exceeded its current asset totaling to 46,680,060 as at 30th June 2022. 7, budgetary control performance. 8, failure by the county treasury to remit 2020-2021 exchequer fund. 9, lack of statute guiding existence and operation of health facilities. 10, trade and other payables. The auditor flagged issue of casual wages in arrears, long outstanding pending bills. This was as a result of failure by the county treasury to transfer budgeted fund to the facility by the end of financial year. The bill dates back from 2017, 2021, 2022. Continuation, failure to meet level 4 hospital requirement. 12, Board of Management operating after expiry term in office. 13, inadequacy in management of property, plant, equipment. 14, lack of effective control on cash collection. The auditor raised the following in the regard. Out of the 6 cashiers in the main cash office, 3 were casual, while 2 were student on attachment. Inquiry for the staff indicated that the casuals had more than 6 months salary arrears. Cash surrenders from various cashiers were not supported by any evidence of amount collected, surrendered, and an acknowledgement by the officer in charge. 3, the safe box used for safekeeping daily cash collection had broken lock. 4, the cashier at the collection point did not have a ledger book to record the daily cash collection. 5, at the cash collection office, there were no proper internal control put in place, such as CCTV camera, to safeguard and secure the cash collected. Number 15, use of manual accounting standard. The hospital maintained its financial record, including cash books and ledgers, in manual form, despite the existence of a financial management system called FANSOP. Poor system filing document. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Speaker, after consideration of the hospital management response on the above issue, holding a meeting with the management of the hospital and the Office of the Auditor General, the committee reports the following observations. 1, that the county executive failed to record transfer of Kenya shillings 48,395,155 Kenya shillings that was transferred to Kisumu County Referral Hospital during the financial year 2021-2022, and that the amount was received by Kisumu County Referral Hospital and properly accounted for. 2, the county executive failed to record a transfer amounted to Kenya shillings 22,286,768 Kenya shillings that was transferred to Kisumu County Referral Hospital during the financial year 2021-2022, and that the amount was received by Kisumu County Referral Hospital and properly accounted for. 3, that the management failed to recognize the value of land in which the hospital is built. 4, that the management omitted in the balance brought down the value of property, plant, equipment of Kenya shillings 313,349,297. That the management failed, that is 5, that the management failed to provide supporting document for opening balance of trade payable, receivable, rendering services, and bank balances amounting to Kenya shillings 96,228,690. Another one, 5,300,667, 339. That is now 15,825,863. Another one is 499,149 respectively. 6, that there was a variance of medical service income of Kenya shillings 28,457,734 as a result of management recorded, as a result of management recording Kenya shillings 63,050,478 in the statement of financial performance, and Kenya shillings of 34,592,744 in the statement of cash flow. 7, the management explained that this difference was as a result of collection for July to December 2022, deposited in the country revenue bank account, Kenya shillings 15,823,862 hundreds. Bills written off as waivers and exemptions of Kenya shillings 5,349,900, and uncollected bill reported as a receivable from exchange transactions amounting to 8,052,780. Number 8, as at the time of committee deliberations, the auditors had confirmed that the amount of Kenya shillings 8,052,780 related to uncollected bill, leading to an explained balance of 20,404,954. Number 9, the current liability amounting to Kenya shillings 148,808,525 exceeded the current asset of Kenya shillings 46,680,60 Kenya shillings. It exceeds by 102,128,465, leading to unbalanced financial statement. 10, the committee observed that in the current liability figure of Kenya shillings 148,808,525 included Kenya shillings 82,924,792, and Kenya shillings, another included 4,346,249 related to historical trade payable and historical building respectively. These figures were not supported. 11, that the management was underfunded by 10% of the revenue budget. 12, that the management was the management was underfunded by Kenya shillings 12,104,845. 13, the management provided the gazette notice through which the facility was established. 14, that there were salary arrears for 7 months amounting to Kenya shillings 6,330,480. Those are the observations. That number 15, that there was a long outstanding other trade payable, historical creditors, balance of Kenya shillings, that is the pending bills now, 82,924,792, which had not been settled at the time of audit in June 2022. 16, the Board of Management held meetings after October 22nd, after expiry of the term limit, without evidence of extension of the appointment of the board members. 17, that the management did not record the cost of land in the statement of financial position. The management explained that they had not establish the value of the land. 18, that the employees who are handling cash were neither contracted nor permanent employees. 19, there was no proper record of daily collection. 20, there was no proper internal control like CCTV cameras to safeguard the operations. Recommendations. 1, that going forward, the management must adhere to the Public Finance Management Act 2012, Section 149(2), which requires an accounting officer of the county government entity to maintain an asset register that is current, accurate, and available to the county treasury or the auditor general. 2, that going forward, the management must ensure that the financial statement reflects the true and fair position of the hospital as required by Section 164(3) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 on financial reporting. 3, that the management provide to the assembly the supporting documents for the opening balance of trade payable, receivable, rendering services, and bank balances in a period of 90 days upon adoption of this report. 4, that going forward, supporting documents must be provided to the auditors during the time of audit as prescribed in Section 62B of the Public Audit Act 2015 on provision of information to the auditor. 5, that the management submit to this assembly the supporting document relating to the historical building of Kenya shillings 4,346,249 and historical payable of 82,924,792 in a period of not more than 90 days upon adoption of this report, failure to which the matter be referred to Ethics Anti-Corruption Commission for further investigations. 6, that going forward, the county treasury must ensure that the whole budget is transferred as budgeted. 9, that going forward, the county treasury should ensure that the whole budget is transferred as budgeted. 8, that the management provide evidence of payments of salary arrears amounting to 6,330,480 in a period of 90 days upon adoption of this report. 9, that the county executive committee member of health make effort to ensure that level 4 hospital meet the required level of the same. A report on the same be submitted to the assembly within a period of 90 days upon adoption of this report. 10, that the report of the meeting held by the board members after the expiry of the term limit be submitted to this assembly within 90 days upon adoption of this report, and the process of recovering the allowance be initiated immediately upon adoption of this report. A report on the status of recovery be submitted to this assembly within a period of 30 days upon adoption of this report. 11, that going forward, the management must adhere to part 1.1 bracket 11 of the Mwongozo Code of Governance, which requires that each board member shall be appointed through a gazette notice and therefore a letter. 12, that going forward, the county executive committee member for health must ensure that all officers handling cash are either contracted or permanently employed for all level 4 hospitals. 13, that going forward, the management must ensure that proper records of daily collections are kept. 14, going forward, the management must ensure that internal control like CCTV camera are installed to safeguard the operations of the hospital. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I hereby request that this House adopt this report of the Public Accounts and Investment Committee on the consideration of the Auditor General's report on the financial statement of the Kisumu County Referral Hospital for the year ended 30th June 2022. May I call Honorable James Were to second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to start by commending the committee for a thorough work, thorough research, Mr. Speaker, I know that there are some concerns that were raised, there are some observations that were made, and there are some recommendations that were also put in place. Mr. Speaker, we know that when you are a public officer, you are given fundamental rights and tasks of which you have to ensure that there is prudent management of public funds. Mr. Speaker, I urge this Honorable House that let us put the executive to tasks to ensure that the recommendations are put in place and are followed to the letter. I therefore beg to second. Thank you.
Honorable members, now that the motion on adoption of the PICPAC committee report on the examination of the Auditor General's report on the financial statement of the Kisumu County Referral Hospital financial year 2021-2022 have been presented and seconded. As per our standing orders, I want to propose a question. And I propose that the motion adoption of the report of PICPAC committee on the examination of the Auditor General's report on the financial statement of Kisumu County Referral Hospital financial year 2021-2022 is open for debate. The Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there has been a lot of silence, Mr. Speaker, in this House. I don't know why. Because, Mr. Speaker, in this House, there is a tendency of the same members contributing over motions, reports, and even bills, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, as the whip of the County Assembly, Mr. Speaker, we are paid to talk legislation, talk oversight, and talk representation. So when some members keep quiet in this House, I don't know why they were elected. And Mr. Speaker, you will see members rising during our Kamkunjis talking about trips outside Kisumu, inductions, while they come to this assembly, Mr. Speaker, they just keep quiet. And some members are also on our heels, Mr. Speaker, with the majority leader. They don't even perform in their respective chairpersons where they're holding. They don't even come to the assembly, Mr. Speaker. They don't want to contribute, yet they are paid, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sometimes you complain to me that, oh, Mheshimiwa Mheshimiwa Kanga, you are not coming to the assembly. But some members are just coming to this assembly and they are holding key responsibility, Mr. Speaker. They don't want to speak. Yet they fought for these positions, Mr. Speaker, to represent their members in this assembly. Mr. Speaker, I want to contribute to this report, Mr. Speaker. The other day, last Saturday, I was with my brother, the Honorable Kelvin Oraru, in a funeral in Mheshimiwa Uraru's ward in Kolwa Central. Mr. Speaker, the son of the bereaved talked while eulogizing his father pensively and talked about issues affecting our health facilities, Mr. Speaker. The father died at Jaramogi Odinga Referral Hospital, Teaching and Referral Hospital. And Mr. Speaker, there were allegations which are founded as per portrayed by the bereaved son that in our facilities there's a lot of neglect and the health staffs are not committed. And he alleged that he was trying to call one of the leaders who was present in that funeral, who is close to the governor. I don't know it was me or, but was not responding to his calls. So, Mr. Speaker, the issue of health, the district hospital, Mr. Speaker, falls under jurisdiction of my ward where I represent, Mr. Speaker. And the chairman of the Peak and Park has highlighted to us serious issues in his report, the observations and the recommendations, Mr. Speaker, touching on financial issues under that facility. Mr. Speaker, the use of resources in a facility like the health sector, I believe enhances service delivery as far as health is concerned. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the chair of the Peak and Park, the Honorable Uko, Mr. Speaker. Even in your absence yesterday, Mr. Chair, I commended you. You are doing very serious reports, Mr. Speaker. And the issue of health in our facilities, Mr. Speaker, some of them are wanting, not the district hospital alone. Aero Nyando Sub-County Hospital, the Nyakash Sub-County Hospital in Papunditi, the Muroni, the Seme, even in Kisumu East, the hospital at Geta, even in West, the hospital at Chulaimbo, Mr. Speaker. Serious engagement and commitments should be taken into our facilities, Mr. Speaker. Going by what we saw, what the public, the image of the public, Mr. Speaker, what the people are saying, what our people are saying in Kisumu, Mr. Speaker, and the Honorable Kelvin Oraru can bear me witness because it was very somber. Mr. Speaker, the family were saying that they were trying even to reach the hospital staffs who were there when their father was desperately requiring medical attention, Mr. Speaker. Even simple medical equipments were lacking, Mr. Speaker. Yet the chair is highlighting to us how money is collected in these facilities, yet on accounting how these monies are spent is not prudent, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, these hospitals, Mr. Speaker, as an assembly, as not only county referral hospitals, but Mr. Speaker, if you go to these hospitals, there are a lot of questions which need to be addressed. So going by this report, Mr. Speaker, I support this report entirely. And Mr. Speaker, you will realize that in some instances, the employees who are handling cash in these hospitals, Mr. Speaker, are neither contracted nor casuals, as indicated by the chair, Mr. Speaker. These are the areas where we were talking about yesterday. Who is in charge of this hospital, Mr. Speaker? This is where the accounting officer comes, because all that is done in all these hospitals, Mr. Speaker, entirely rests with the accounting officer. When there are a lot of malpractices in our facilities, Mr. Speaker, it is the public which suffers. And we are the representatives of the public, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it sometimes becomes very, very, very impossible to defend the county government in public functions, Mr. Speaker, because the people are talking about glaring mistakes in this county. They were there with the patient, they are going there to patients, they are going there to visit their patients in hospitals, in wards, and they are witnessing these issues, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Chair is telling us there were instances where there were salary arrears, Mr. Speaker, for 6 months for contracted staffs, Mr. Speaker. How can somebody, Mr. Speaker, work without salary for 6 months? Yet you expect our residents, Mr. Speaker, to get efficient services as far as health is concerned. Mr. Speaker, there are areas where there are no proper records of daily collections, according to the report. Yet we are saying that we cannot meet our targets as far as the budget proposals are concerned. So if we don't enhance these areas, Mr. Speaker, as far as the daily collections, in some areas, the CCTVs are there, but there are no controls, Mr. Speaker. Yet the county government procured these CCTVs using public money. Yet you cannot monitor what is happening in those facilities. Mr. Speaker, according to the report of the Honorable Uko, Mr. Speaker, something needs to be done in this county. Mr. Speaker, the Governor, Professor Peter Nyang'nyong'o, had a very good vision. Look at CIDP 2, CIDP 3, the review of CIDP 2, what we are implementing now, the annual development plans. Very good vision and objectives. But those people are implementing these issues, Mr. Speaker. They commit mistakes in this department, they are promoted to other departments. Nothing is done, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am urging this Honorable House, Mr. Speaker, to adopt this report with the good recommendations so that this county may move from strength to strength as far as delivery of health services is concerned, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the government is talking about 0 deaths in our facilities. The county government is trying to meet it, but we can't because service delivery in our hospitals, Mr. Speaker, is wanting. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I support this report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kelvin Oraro.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the chair of the Committee of Pick and Pack for good work done and for being consistent, because for the last few days in this plenary, we have been discussing reports by Pick and Pack. Chair, Mr. Speaker, during the so-called Kamkunji, you even talked about committees. One of the committees that need more funding and more money is this Committee of Pick and Pack, because it is the backbone of the oversight in the Assembly as a select committee. And true to my words, if you are to give out a picture or the number of reports that we have received from various committees, you'll realize that Pick and Pack is doing a lot. And for that reason, you really need to fund the committee so that they can do more and more. I'm happy because before I was given one committee that I have now today, I was a member of this Pick and Pack committee. During my first term as a pioneer MCA, I was also the deputy or the vice chair of this committee up to the end or during the election, Mr. Speaker. I know how it is so difficult to come up with a report and write a report with this recommendation that the committee has just recommended, Mr. Speaker. And from the observation, you see a lot of things happening. But I want to be different today with my presentation, knowing that the person who was chairing this committee is actually a doctor or a clinician by profession. And for that reason, it means well for Kisumu County. And this report also is not that damaging, Mr. Speaker, but there are some few areas that can be corrected by the administration and the board of that hospital. Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, the one our chief whip or majority whip was referring to, is seen to be taking another step because we believe that it will soon be a parastatal. And the only hospital we have that will be proud of as Kisumu County is the Kisumu County Referral Hospital. And we believe that some of the recommendation is to make it work effectively and efficiently and to be transparent so that members of the public can feel like the hospital is being operated well and issue of finance are also accounted well. And that's why we have a report of such magnitude. One area that is clear, and I hope it was really captured and WIP has also captured it, is the issue of handling finances. And you know, when you choose a casual to handle finance, then you know very well that you cannot make that person be accountable. The person can be fired any minute. So it is just a strategy. It is some decision for someone just to use casual maybe to handle finance because he knows that the permanent employee or the contracted employee might have some level of resistance to other temptation. So this deliberate move to have casuals handling cash should be stopped so that the person who knows that his job can be at stake should be given the responsibility to handle cash. And I think the chair captured it well and brought the idea well. The issue of CCTV, I think it's also a good move if the CCTV will be everywhere, including the wards. Sometimes there are follow-ups that you might need to follow up due to negligence, like the case Honorable Seth Ochieng was referring to on negligence. Mr. Speaker, I want to also acknowledge the uncollected bills that were seen in the hospital. And I think that's an area we need to assist the hospital because most of our patients are very poor and some cannot afford the bills. And the program of the hospital through the social part has done a lot to assist our patients. And that can be witnessed by many occasions whereby they waive the bills, which is a good practice. The only thing is that it is the revenue of the county and the hospital that is being lost. But I think we should always give them emergency fund to cater for this social fund for a year. Because I see many of the patients, some come to us and we talk to the hospital management to at least waive, and 20-15% is being waived in order to allow the patient to be discharged because of lack of NHIF. And I think the hospital and the assembly should take an initiative, market the issue of NHIF, so that our people sometimes do not have to look for a lot of money or even sell their property in order to settle some of the bills that I've seen is making the hospital not operate well. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I want also to talk about the county not giving the facilities the agreed amount or releasing the amount that is supposed to be released on time and the full amount. For hospitals, I can say under the budget, I was looking at the budget and I'm seeing the Department of Health is really trying to fund a lot of activities in medical services across the county, across the world. And that's one area that Professor Anyang' Nyong'o has done a good work. That majority has not highlighted apart from the Europe. The area of health, he has really done a good work. And I was seeing that across the wards, almost all the wards were getting allocation from the health department. And I think we should need to support them fully. And apart from the correction from maybe the yearly report, we need to see that county referral of Hospital of Kisumu can always be managed well so that it can grow. Because that is the next hospital after Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. So I support the report and the recommendation that has been forwarded. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first I want to commend the committee for job well done. Mr. Speaker, the committee has always done a good job. The problem is, Mr. Speaker, they always bring good recommendations and actions. But I'm sorry, I've never seen any action or recommendation being implemented. So I had heard Honorable Chief Whip saying that sometimes most members don't contribute. Mr. Speaker, at times we don't contribute because it's obvious that anything in this house will just pass. And if it passes, nothing happens after that. So if you can change the tactics, Mr. Speaker, that if you pass anything that, especially these touchy ones, with good recommendations, and the recommendation can be implemented, Mr. Speaker, I think we will debate. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, some of us, led by our Chief Whip, is just good in their house. Whatever he has said here, I can't even say it outside that house. So, if we can stand by our word, Mr. Speaker, then I think we can change Kisumu County. Because as things stand now, Mr. Speaker, we have so much English in the county, but nothing is being done. And even my friend, Honorable Raro, has got a lot of composition in our assembly wall, complaining how his budget was slashed. But here is now saying how the governor is working well. So, Mr. Speaker, we are not real. The day we'll be real with ourselves and we'll be honest, Mr. Speaker, then Kisumu we'll have a great Kisumu, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, the reason why at times we don't talk, because it's witch hunting. You talk here, after finishing your speech, you are being called. Oh, you are attacking who? The other time, Mr. Speaker, I talk about city manager. He told me that you will be removed from that committee. And the following week, I was removed. So we are not talking that we can't talk. We know how to debate. But if we debate, it is necessary. If necessary. Mr. Speaker, let us, I think, role members, the leadership, everyone, let us do oversight roles. Mr. Speaker. If you can do our oversight role independently, Mr. Speaker, then we'll have a very good debate. Because at times if you debate, but you see your debate is not necessary, you just sit down. You say yes, yes, and life continues. But on this one, Mr. Speaker, I support the report fully. Thank you.
point of information, Mr. Speaker, I want to inform my friend, the Honorable Sami.
Honorable Sami, the whip want to inform you. He is agreed.
Mr. Speaker, I am in agreement with what Honorable Sami is saying. But, Mr. Speaker, I am outspoken within this House and outside, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, some of us, like the majority whip and the majority leader, we have responsibilities, Mr. Speaker, to talk about government issues and defend government positions in this House as per the nature of our job. That's a requirement by the law or by the standing orders or by the norms of this House. However, Mr. Speaker, when something is wrong, as highlighted by Honorable Uko, constructively, Mr. Speaker, we have to be in agreement. Whether we are with the governor, whether we are the CEC Finance, whether we are with the deputy governor, we have to tell the governor that there are glaring problems, Mr. Speaker. And I always tell them, like the case, Mr. Speaker, although it has not been brought in this honorable House, the Honorable Mumbo Wade, the deputy majority leader, found problems in the road sector, Mr. Speaker, the Department of Roads, whereby fuel was being sold, Mr. Speaker. It was told to the governor, explained to the governor, and thereby the chief officer in that department, together with the director, have been transferred, Mr. Speaker. There are things which we need not to talk about in this honorable House, Mr. Speaker. Transferred. But now it's the Department of the Roads to dig deep and bring reports in this honorable House. The Honorable Rakwach, because a problem has been committed, the Honorable Sami, talk about it. Say that the Honorable Seto Chieng, you are so and so, you have done this, then the House adopts. We will not defend people who are failing the governor in this House. I will not. Because come 2027, the people of Kisumu County or wherever, the market Milimani people will judge me how I have performed, including you. It's not Adunyang alone. It's not the governor alone. It is everybody. So as the chief whip of this House, members, if there's a problem, bring it, bring evidence, we will concur with you and tell the governor that this is wrong. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Benny Pete.
Mr. Speaker, at times it is very interesting and jovial for members to contribute the way the debate is going on. Honorable Nyang has opened up and told you what Honorable Lumumba Wade did. And yes, to some extent, Wade has saved some of us. Because if it were not Wade, that thing could have gone under the table. So we must give Honorable Wade some credit. Some of us could not have talked about it. And we are happy the governor is taking action, not just for the sake of it. And it is also good the whip has whipped his members to be active. That's good. In the National Assembly, Kimani Echungwa also whipped his members to be active. That is normal. But you know, there are times when you may also find a report difficult to contribute. Other times you may find it easy. So that is also normal. Mr. Speaker, I want to give a little contribution on this report. The Auditor General, the Office of the Auditor General, has given this report a clean bill of health. That means the financial records they found at the Kisumu County Referral Hospital were not in bad shape. That is the picture we are given here. The records, financial records, were properly kept and presented to the Auditor General. For a few areas that they said they must also pinpoint so that the management should change. That will be a credit if all the departments will behave like that. But some issues raised here is the staff at the accounts department of the district hospital are casuals, handling finances. Mr. Speaker, this county, we know that the wage bill is more than what it should be, more than 35%, going to 50%. And a picture is coming up in this house, and this is not the first time, that employment, there's a problem with the employment of technical staff. There's a problem with the employment of the technical staff. When accounts department is manned by CASU, and the collection is manual, how do we expect to receive money, Mr. Nyang? It can't be successful. That is where we are. So, Mr. Speaker, we must ask the executive why the wage bill is high and the technical staff are not there. It's not only here. Agriculture is there. Other departments are there. This is an area we need to look at. Another issue, this hospital facility is now being audited as an entity because it has facility improvement fund. That record should have come out here clearly. How much does the hospital collect in a financial year? So that we get impressed that the hospital is doing well on its own collection. And their allocation from the executive, we are told, they get less by 10%. When they get less by 10%, how do they go about with their budget? That needs to be looked into. There is the historical debt, the historical pending bill. The historical pending bill, we are being told here of the 82 million, and the pending bills that are at the Treasury, how do they relate? We need to find about this. Because, Mr. Speaker, you know, something has also come up in the management of finances of Kisumu County. The matter of pending bill, we had assumed that was being handled at the Treasury. And the departments are crying that they are now being ordered to pay some of their pending bills. And the allocation they are using to pay the pending bills were meant for this current financial year, like in the hospital. They had budgeted for the commodities. When part of money is used to pay the pending bills, that means the drugs, the commodities, will not be adequate in our hospitals. So, Mr. Speaker, another issue that we need to raise here is that once the auditor has flagged off a matter, it is not the responsibility of the Assembly to give a grace period for financial records to be brought here. That is the work of the auditor. The Assembly can sound a warning to the department if they continue not giving all the financial records to the auditor. The Assembly will take action, and the action advised is for the Assembly to call for the Office of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption or Director of Criminal Investigation to do further investigation if the department is unwilling to cooperate with the Office of the Auditor General. This comes about, Mr. Speaker, because the office is supposed to handle their financial records as per the requirement of Public Finance Management Act. And all the necessary records that should be availed to the auditor should be availed. Failure to do that, that means there are some items, there are some transactions which were not procedurally done and they want to hide. So once they reach with us that point and a report has come here, We have no business giving them grace period. What the law allows us to do is to forward the matter to the next government institution authorized for investigation, not the assembly. I shall submit, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Zach Okoyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support the report. And Mr. Speaker, before I say something, Mr. Speaker, allow me to defend some of our members who are being accused of not contributing. Mr. Speaker, this calls for, I think, the procurement to hasten the procurement process so that we can get the tablets. Some of us who have eyesight have problems in following or reading from, the soft copies from our phones. So, Mr. Speaker, I would ask the...
Honorable Zach, I think sometimes back we did allow that those who are not able to work with the soft copies can be given up. I think Honorable Iko can testify to that. There is always provision for a hard copy to Honorable Iko because he formally requested that he's not techno service, so he want to use a hard copy.
Then I think
that one cannot be an excuse.
Then I think, Mr. Speaker, I should be added in that list of Mr. Iko, Honorable Iko. Mr. Speaker, to be precise, I really support the report. And Mr. Speaker, this is to say that I wonder why sometimes I don't even feel proud to be an MCA because of a lot of the adverse reports which come from the PICPAC committee. Since inception, since we started, I've not had maybe one report which was brought to the House, which was a bit supportive with the work of the executive. The rest of the reports which I've had coming from the PICPAC committee are adverse and need something to be done. Mr. Speaker, it's really wanting in our health facilities. And sometimes we, honorable members, we are forced to move and support some...
On a point of order, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of Honorable Roboseth?
Madam Speaker, on statement of facts, standing order number 89, the honorable member is alluding that the report we are discussing is adverse, but the Auditor General gave a qualified opinion on this report. Honorable Speaker, is it right for the honorable member to continue misleading the House? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Zach Okoyo, you need to substantiate that the report that is being discussed was an adverse report.
Mr. Speaker, okay, I withdraw, but what I was trying to allude is we've been having adverse reports from the committee of PICPAC, which shows that this House should stand tall and be counted to make sure the executive work as per the norms and the required standards, so that we can also be seen as one of the assemblies which put the executive to task. So, Mr. Speaker, I stand to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to commend the chair of PICPAC for this kind of good report with this committee. Mr. Speaker, the elephant in the House is the implementation of such reports. We really do recommend very good recommendations, but 90 days, like yesterday, I think we gave 90 days for the other report. But after 90 days, what next? No implementation at all. So I think it is important that the other committee, the implementation committee, should take up all matters that are pending on PICPAC reports so that we get to the bottom of these things. Because next financial year or next report for the same facility will have the same recommendations if nothing is done. So implementing these recommendations is very important for us to move as a county, because if we don't do that, then there's nobody who will do it. So it is upon us to really stamp our authority as a committee of implementation so that we make sure that everything that we recommend are done. Mr. Speaker, very many facilities are bringing their audited reports to PICPAC, and the trend is almost the same for some of them. I think there are some gaps in financial management that has to be managed well for our facilities, especially the level 4 ones, the one like Chulaimbo, Paponditi, Moroni, those ones, etc. I think it is important that these gaps, once we got them from the auditor report, it is upon this house to make sure that these financial gaps are really blocked so that we have prudence in terms of usage of our resources. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I support.
Honorable Ratib Waiton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also arose to support this report, but I want to mention one aspect that, Mr. Speaker, I need to echo so much. Mr. Speaker, the report in its recommendation mentioned something about county treasury to ensure that the budget is transferred as it is budgeted. This is quite important because we realize that when the department give out their budget, and to a greater extent sometimes the budget are slashed by the county treasury, this actually hinders operationalization of this department. In that aspect, Mr. Speaker, the Department of Health, we all know that always take the big chunk of our budget allocation. It is important that we have a healthy society. I agree, as many members have also put it across, that health is paramount and health must be given the necessary effort that it requires. Mr. Speaker, we have lost lives in this country. We have lost life in this county because of what we term as over-the-counter kind of services. So many people will prefer going to buy medicines from pharmacies when they fall sick. Why do they do that? They do this because in most times they find that they don't get proper services from our public hospitals. And this is a worrying trend. This is a worrying trend. By the time the patient realizes that already is out totally, lives are lost. So, Mr. Speaker, this department should also ensure that during their budgeting, they factor in medicines and facilities that our common people would need, so that they bring back that kind of trust in our public hospitals. This is also very evident why private hospitals are doing better than public hospitals, because trust has already been lost in this public hospital. If at all budgetary allocations will be given to our health sector, then I think, Mr. Speaker, all other departments will be of benefit, because a healthy nation is a productive nation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Seth Kumu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the adoption of this report with its recommendation. Mr. Speaker, other than its recommendation, this report is appointed to so many things that are happening in this particular hospital, the Kisumu County Referral Hospital. Mr. Speaker, with an funding of 12 million, it is hard for the hospital to meet the needs that the Honorable Boyton is talking about. Mr. Speaker, with honorable members and their constituents running for waivers at the hospital to a tune of close to 5 million, it means the services have been reduced to the cost of 5 million. Honorable members, as we urge these hospitals to perform, as we put stringent measures to also make sure that the resources that they have are prudently used, let's also remember that we address this issue of underfunding to these hospitals and the issue of waivers. If we need waivers in this hospital, Honorable Speaker, then we need to put money to cushion these hospitals during their financial expenditures. But Honorable Speaker, I want to agree that some of the recommendations can be addressed very, very fast. Like the issue of having cashiers who are neither on contract or casuals or permanent employees. Honorable Speaker, such people are prone to temptations, especially when they're handling cash. So those are some of the things that I believe with this report need to be addressed very, very fast, so that we have people who value the monies and they know and appreciate that the monies that they collect from those pay points are supposed to be plowed back to our institutions so that people can get proper services. Honorable Speaker, we have had issues with assets in our county. And to be specific, in Kisumu County Referral Hospital, there's no clear indication on the kind of assets they are having. And from this auditor's report, it's being mentioned that those assets are not properly recorded. Honorable Speaker, without which we can lose so many things. We can keep buying equipment for such hospitals without knowing. So as a recommendation that has been put by the committee, I want to emphasize that this should be done immediately, that all assets and liabilities of the hospital need to be recorded, and we have their records kept properly. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, on the prolonged or accrued pending bills, our hospitals really suffered when we were implementing universal health coverage in the whole country, especially Kisumu being one of the pilot counties. And during such times, the hospitals were mandated to give services with the promise that the national government was going to fund such service provision. So as they were giving the services, they did not charge. And in that manner, Honorable Speaker, our hospitals have incurred huge amounts of pending bills. As we go into the next process of budgeting, let's also consider that so that we address the pending bills that our hospitals, especially Kisumu County Hospital, Kisumu County Referral Hospital is facing. Honorable Speaker, other than that, I want to agree with the recommendations made by the committee, and I want to also emphasize what other members have said, that the best motivation you can give committee members and the House is if the recommendations are implemented. Implementation of those recommendations bring a raft of changes for service delivery in Kisumu County, and also motivate members to do much more when they are in their different committees. Otherwise, thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Looks like there is no more member who want to contribute, so the chair, I think it's high time that you give the reply. Chair Pickpack.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I respond. Honorable Seth Kanga. he was so much concerned about finding a problem in an entity like this hospital we are discussing now. Now we have dissected the patient that is now the hospital, and we found where the disease is. It is upon now the county assembly to act on these matters. And many a times we have been encouraging you to come with motions on amendments. We have never got any kind of amendment from you, but we expect that. That is why we are bringing back this report to you, so that we put our heads together for the betterment of Kisumu County. Now, he also talked about employees, the casual employees. We were trying to expose everything so that you understand what is happening there. It is unfortunate somebody is handling cash within the hospital, and that person is not being paid the salary. Where do you expect that person to get the salary now? Now, you also got it very clearly that the cash box were also broken. What do you expect is going to happen there? So that is why we came up with some recommendations, so that the internal control mechanism. Honorable Kevin Oraro, it is true that at times we do recognize the work of the pick pack. We have a lot of work. Our table is full as compared to the amount of money given to the committee. And I'm happy to report that the chair, Leason, the chair of the House, chair of chairs, responded so nicely and giving us something during supplementary, so that we continue with the kind of work we are doing. I hope this is a collective responsibility, not only for the committee, but it is for the whole House. So thank you very much. We also had issues like matters like CCTV cameras for efficiency and measures that will protect the public fund. It is very important. And you know the importance of Kisumu County Referral Hospital to us. You know, the moment we will be doing away with the Jaramogi, we will be remaining with the Kisumu County Referral Hospital as a referral hospital for the county. And if we don't, that is now the face of Kisumu County, and some other level 4 hospitals like Moroni, Chulaimbo, and the rest. So these hospitals must show that truly they represent the face of Kisumu County. Now, Honorable Sami was talking about implementations. Mr. Speaker, you realized the other time I was complaining about implementations. We have had far-reaching recommendations which are in line with the law, but unfortunately, we have another committee which is charged with this implementation issues. So at times, we will be requesting you, if they can't perform, we will be requesting you so that we push our own recommendations through, so that at least the county assembly will be seen to be doing some kind of work. We have Honorable Eko. Actually, we have to be proactive on matters like this ones. Remember, this is where we are dealing with the executive on financial matters. And everything, actually, all roads lead to finance. We will always be talking about matters, several matters, development and all those, but the end result must be on finance. So matters concerning finance matters, I also would like to encourage you to be responding to these issues, especially during the debates. I must confirm that we have never had any kind of threat from the executive or from the House leadership to doctor a result or to do anything which favors, but not the law, which favors something else apart from the law. So I recommend, I also applaud the Speaker as the head of the House, and probably the Governor for not interfering with all our works. We have been very independent and we are doing things according to the law. We also have a grace period given to, which was an issue, a grace period given to the hospital concerning, I think the speaker will rule on that probably sometimes back. If we are given opportunity, if we give 90 days, if we give 10 days, if we give 5 days, we are, at least somebody must be given opportunity to be heard. And you know, for us to summon, we have to invite and invite and invite, then probably the third time we now summon. So summoning is a bit stronger word. So before we summon, for to do anything, we have to invite so that they also defend themselves. Now we have Honorable Koyo. Honorable Koyo, we are ready to give you the soft copies from the clerk's office so that you go Honorable Iko's way so that you understand everything before you come. And we agreed very clearly on matters that we will be reading our reports through the moving notes. And that is what we are doing now. Honorable Molo is also talking about implementation. And the concern is so much. We have good recommendations, but implementation, that is a big problem. Honorable Atib, the slashing of budgets. This is an issue. We also wrote a letter to the Director of Budget to accompany another team so that we sort out these issues. We will hear that truly they have not been giving the level 4 hospitals the money they have been defending when they come here as a department. So, Honorable Ratib also talked about service delivery. It is very important that when the money is allocated to an entity, they have to deliver. Even at some percentage, maybe even 70% of the percentage. So we have to insist on this. It is our responsibility. You have to stand tall, to be counted as Okoye was talking about, so that truly we do our oversight role. What we are doing is just within the law. So don't be afraid to give your recommendations when we are before the House, because that is part of your work. Honorable Kumu, the services goes together with the provision of resources. Without resources to the county, the level 4 hospitals will not be delivering in terms of services. So surely that is why we invited the Director of Budget so that we hear from him what actually makes them not give a full budget for the level 4s. And we also have issues of assets. Now, let me bring to your attention that almost all the hospitals we have gone through their reports, they don't have the title deeds for these hospitals. That is the first asset which will be counted. It is not there. Yes. So these are, but they keep on promising they will be processing, they will be processing. And now the assets would show, actually most of the assets depreciate. There should be a valuer to confirm the status of that asset, whether it is good now for disposal or it is for continuation. Honorable Kumu also talked about implementation. Implementation is an issue, Mr. Speaker, sir. We need to act on this so that what we are doing in the House be felt. Otherwise, I beg to reply. Thank you.
Honorable members, now that PICPAC committee have moved a motion on adoption of the report by the said committee on the examination of the Auditor General's report on the financial statement of the Kisumu County Referral Hospital financial year 2021-2022, seconded and debated with so many recommendations therein. As per our standing orders, I now want to put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion that the motion on adoption of the report of the PICPAC committee on the examination of the Auditor General's report on the financial statement of Kisumu County Referral Hospital financial year 2021-2022 with all the recommendations therein be adopted, say aye. As many of the contrary opinions say nay, the ayes have it, and the motion on adoption of the report of the PICPAC Committee on the examination of the Auditor General's report on the financial statement of Kisumu County Referral Hostel financial year 2021-2022 have been adopted today, Wednesday, the 13th of March 2024 at 16:12 hours. And I want to direct, just like I did in the morning, that the answer and the recommendations of this report be communicated to the relevant sections for action. The implementing committee follows up on the said recommendation. But I want also to raise, honorable members and the chairs who are here, that when the chair PICPAC was reading the report, you could understand and agree with me that it's not only the implementation committee. There are other committees that should pick up issues. I've listened, I've heard the issues of HR. I've heard there are issues of wage bill. There are issues of, medical supplies and such like. So it is not only the implementation committee, but the other committees should also pick up from this report and see areas that there is need for further interrogation in line with our oversight roles. Otherwise, as I've directed, the recommendation should be sent to the relevant departments for action with a follow-up, number one, by the implementation committee and the other committees in areas which are relevant to them. Next order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honourable members. There's no any business in the order paper to be transacted.
Honourable members, I want to say that this is going to be my last question on the members who are using their initials to sign the register. And I mean it's my last question. When I say that, I know I am saying it, so let no member blame me. Honorable Regina Kizito, Honorable Samuel Onyango, Honorable, yes, Honorable Samuel Onyango and Honorable Regina Kizito, Honorable Boyton Ratib. This is my last question to you. On the same note, let us not make it a project that you sign for a member. It is also my last question that those who are signing for the members, please do not blame me in future. I know why I'm telling you this one. Otherwise, being there, no any other business, the House stands adjourned until tomorrow, Thursday, the 14th of March, 2024 at 2:30 p.m.